Hello everyone. Today I will tell you what fasting is, what benefits this type of diet brings, what negative consequences it will have, to whom it is contraindicated. Let's talk about gross mistakes. To become a healthy person is not a simple desire to lose weight. It is primarily a scientific approach based on the processes occurring in the body. Watch this video to the end. We will analyze it in detail on the shelves. Fasting can be considered as a form of monodiety, in which all products are excluded, except water. A 2014 study showed that periodic fasting increases the life expectancy of experimental animals and prevents the occurrence of certain age-related diseases. Additional research has also found the positive effects of periodic fasting on sleep, mood, and sex life. What is interval fasting and how to do it correctly? This is the most important thing that is safe for health, probably the main problem of humanity. It always happens hunger, and it actually exists today. We are talking today about how to give up food, but actually look at how many starving countries have starving children. And the topic in question, on the one hand, it seems useful, perhaps even necessary, but for many it probably sounds funny, because they think where to get food. And ask what happened that humanity has been fighting all its life to get food, and now you and I will think about how to refuse correctly, but, unfortunately, it so happened that before we hunted for food to get food, we had to endure, and now we can go to the store and buy it. In ancient times, when there was no lighting, no matter how dark it was at night, now megacities are not what they once were. Basically, all meals were tied to our circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm, this is the rhythm of our human metabolism. And now night comes, your appetite wakes up, you live in stress, opened the refrigerator, took out a cake, ate. Of course, this is not very useful. It is already known that it is better to sleep hungry at night, and if we are just now talking about what our parents taught us, in fact, science has stepped forward. And there are studies that show that there is a theory of frugal genes, which says that our nature is the essence of nutrition is that we should not eat at night, we should eat during the day. Studies say that the tendency to eat at night or late at night increases the propensity to risk heart attack, stroke, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer. Sometimes I read that, it would seem. People with education say that all diets work differently, everything rests on calorie restriction, but this is the same nonsense, not only the calorie restriction, but everything depends on the hormonal reactions of our system. It is stupid to say that the same amount of calories consumed in the form of porridge, for example, or frozen, will eventually give the same result. This is not the case. On interval fasting, the essence is not only in reducing calories. Yes, of course, this has its advantages if you are a fan of overeating. A good way to reduce the volume of the stomach. The main thing is that you understand interval fasting and all types of fasting. It's not just about calorie restriction. It's about the biochemical consequences of positive changes that occur in the body. You need to smoothly enter and smoothly exit. So let's not starve once a week or 2 or 3 times there. This is not very correct per week, because it can lead to certain consequences. There must be a clear regime, that is, you could exclude from your diet, for example, a lot of sweets. This is also a kind of starvation for any diet. If you get used to interval fasting pretty quickly, fasting once a month, the body will still starve. Treat this as stress. First of all, to understand the fasting protocol, first let's talk about the consequences, both positive and negative. This is the most important thing. If you have chosen the kind of diet that you need, first make sure that there is no endocrinological predisposition or other problems. I recommend, in addition, checking your hormonal system. The absolute contraindications for fasting are severe body weight deficiency, malignant tumors, active tuberculosis of the lungs and other organs, bronchiectatic disease, diseases of the circulatory system, type 1 diabetes mellitus, thyrotoxicosis, cardiac arrhythmia, or conduction of any genesis, condition after a large focal myocardial infarction, heart failure, chronic hepatitis and cirrhosis of the liver, renal insufficiency of any origin, Thrombophlebitis, the mistake of people with insulin resistance is precisely that, After looking at the advice of fitness experts, it becomes clear that they give the right advice. But they are not suitable for everyone. They start eating in containers. Remember, if you have insulin resistance, eat by the hour every 2 or 3 hours. What is the fasting protocol? It is based on 2 digits. The first digit is the time when you do not eat. The second digit, this is the time when you eat. There are different protocols. There is a warrior diet protocol. In my opinion, it is called meal a day, and you have 1 meal during the day. For example, 16 to 8 is the most suitable for people who want to make it a lifestyle, and plus it's actually convenient. Why? For example, I practice 16 hours of hunger and 8 hours of eating. Firstly, it is easier to give up all nonsense in the morning. I do not waste time on breakfast. I eat in the evening and responsibly. I come in the evening and can safely go without food every day. Do not carry any containers with you, thinking about how to cook this meal in advance, and in the morning I immediately got up, drank a glass of warm water, got dressed, went to work. Came and did not think about food all day. Count how many of these lunch breaks, food interruptions, snacks are wasted. You wasting your time, so in fact, this is also very convenient in terms of time management. Of course, during the day you need to avoid hunger. There are adherents of dry fasting. There are such methods. I don't really like them. Urine is urine. These are dissolved slags that nourish our body, slags, which are thrown out by us through sweat, through the intestines, through urine, naturally, when you do not drink. When the blood is not actively circulating, it cannot decrease in volume because there is no water supply. Therefore, it does not excrete urine from you so effectively. The slags are not excreted as they were actually excreted. Therefore, the best detoxification, it's about giving your kidneys, giving your liver, so that your gastrointestinal tract does its job. Because no matter who tells you about all these cleanses, about all these detoxification programs, the best detoxification programs, it's about having healthy organs, a healthy liver. Just don't add unnecessary nastiness and don't eat more than you need. Let her do her natural job well. It is very important to listen to your body, listen to what it is more comfortable with. The main thing is to feel your body, which suits you personally. Despite the undoubted benefits of fasting in some diseases, such as acute pancreatitis, many studies indicate its harm. In the study, not only fats are burned during fasting, but also amino acids that are part of proteins. And when the free protein is exhausted, the destruction of muscle fibers begins. After about a day, irreversible dystrophic processes in the brain begin from a lack of glucose. Due to a violation of the intake of fats from food, bile thickens in the gallbladder, increasing the likelihood of stone formation. Similar processes occur in the kidneys during anhydrous starvation. Since metabolic processes in the body continue to occur, but their products can no longer be excreted with feces, other pathways are overloaded. The skin becomes salty, respiration and urine acquire a characteristic odor. Diabetic patients with fasting for more than 12 hours have a real chance of falling into a hypoglycemic coma. What advantages do scientific studies show? They say that when you turn on the food pause during this period of time, the body rebuilds and ceases to be aimed at creating new cells. That is, the process of creating new cells slows down, and the body rebuilds and searches for energy sources using autophagy. Autophagy eats its own cells, the old ones of which at the first stage. Pathological tests are carried out. At the second, what happens during this period of time? You are more actively fighting for all our protein intracellular complexes with harmful substances of the cell, and there is not enough talk about what the nutrition protocol is. It significantly reduces the risks of developing cancer. But still, this is a diet for health, not for sports. Do not try to look for a single diet. If there was a single super cool diet, everyone would be on it. Interval fasting cannot be natural. The more you try, the more you understand the benefits that we get. Huge the cellular response. For example, our mitochondria become healthier because the antioxidant defense in the body becomes better, stronger. Free oxygen forms become less with this diet. Of course, this is a plus.so if you want to be healthy at 60, 70, 80 years old. Please, from the age of 20 you still need to start monitoring your health. Think about how to starve properly. First, determine the goal. Maybe you just need to increase the amount of physical activity and increase the calorie deficit, but do not torment yourself with different diets. Choose the right diet or the appropriate method is interval fasting. This is what I was talking about. For example, we eat at 18 o'clock or at 6 o'clock. An important point is to consult with a doctor. I recommend an ultrasound hepatic cardiography to make sure that you have no contraindications on this side. Rule out problems with insulin. Check blood glucose levels. Maybe check your biochemistry. If fasting is observed, it is not recommended to carry out intensive training. But light physical activity is acceptable and even desirable. Try to follow it no more than once a month, ideally once every 6 months. A balanced diet should contain the optimal combination of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and nutrients. It is recommended to increase the consumption of vegetables and fruits rich in dietary fiber. Oncologist Tony Hovell and leading American nutritionist Michelle Harvey have written a book called The Fast Diet. According to their proposed nutrition system, you should limit your meals to 2 times a week, each time no more than 500 to 600 calories. The days are chosen at your discretion and do not necessarily go in a row. This approach allows you to easily lose up to 3 kilograms per month. And recently, scientists have identified an important molecular mechanism for the positive effects of therapeutic fasting. According to a recent study published in the journal Cell, diet has contributed to slowing down the aging process in laboratory animals. The essence of the diet is to reduce the amount of food consumed, limit the consumption of certain macronutrients such as protein, as well as short-term fasting, in this case. Limiting the intake of 2 amino acids, methionine and cysteine, stimulated the production of hydrogen sulfide and protected against damage caused by ischemia and reperfusion. In addition, hydrogen sulfide increased the lifespan of worms, flies, yeast, and mice. Most likely, this acid is able to slow down the aging process and help in the fight against various diseases in humans. For today, that's all I wanted to tell you. It would be very interesting to hear about your fasting experience that you practice, so share what kind of fasting experience you have, which scheme is optimal for you, why. Because the more useful you write, the more people will read something for themselves, so subscribe, read, watch, and benefit from all the good things. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.